Welcome to the Business Happy Hour radio show with your host, Frank the Bank Cotto, the owner of Lincoln Lending Group right here in Tampa Bay for 23 years. Joined by his incredible co-host, Ksenia Akishina, realtor with Mahara and Associates, Tampa's top real estate company. Together, they have helped finance and close nearly $1 billion of real estate every year. If you're looking for local mortgage or real estate advice, the Business Happy Hour team has been right here on News Radio WFLA for over a decade. Listen right here or find us on the Business Happy Hour YouTube channel or follow us on Instagram at Frank the Bank Cotto. Now sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious mortgage, real estate, and business talk with two of Tampa's top experts. Here's Frank the Bank and Ksenia.
All right, Tampa Bay, welcome back to the Business Happy Hour, your number one show for all things business and entrepreneurial. And today is a special day. This is 2 weeks in a row that Ksenia Akishina from Mahara and Associates and yours truly, Frank the Bank from Lincoln Lending Group, are going to talk directly to you about mortgages, real estate, and today we're going to do the home buying process. That's right. I don't care if you're a first-time home buyer or if you bought 30 homes. We are going to take it back to the basics. We're going to talk about what does it take in today's market to get qualified for a home. When do you want to get pre-approved? What do the different lenders do? What does it mean to work with different lenders? What about real estate agents? What's the difference between real estate agents? Do you guys think every real estate agent is the same? You are sadly mistaken. There is a big difference in real estate agents. There's a big difference in the brokerages, and with real estate, it is hyper local. Do you know what hyper local that means? That means way more local than what you think. That means it is literally your neighborhood. That is how important real estate is, and it can change from one neighborhood to the other, by the way. Did you know that if you buy a house in South Florida, it's likely that you as the buyer are going to pay the title insurance, and the seller is not going to pay because you're going to choose the title company? So that could end up costing you thousands of dollars. That little box could be checked on your contract right now, costing you money and you don't even know it. That's why you need a good real estate professional to explain these things, because when I say hyperlocal, if you're in the Central Florida area, you are not choosing the title company and you are not paying for a title. That's right. If you're in Central Florida, that's not happening. But Ksenia from Mahara and Associates is going to break that down. It's going to be a great show. Stay tuned for that. We've got statistics as well. And Ksenia, tell me if I'm wrong. Do we have a special guest next week?
We do.
Who is it?
We finally have Ray Mahara on the calendar.
Yes, Ray Mahara is going to join us next week. He is the host of I'm the host. He is the owner of Mahara and Associates. I just realized I'm short on battery on the old cell phone, so I'm going to talk really fast today. But it's going to be a great show. Stay tuned. We're going to do statistics in just a minute here with Ksenia. And like I said, I was going to do Rush Limbaugh style, but then Ksenia decided to run in the studio at the last minute.
For once, you're early. I mean, what was that?
No, I actually thought I was late. Right? Because I thought like I had to start at 10 today and then I'm like running up here and then I bump into people and James is like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, well, you told me to be on time.
So if you thought it was 10, you were actually late for the 10 o'clock.
I was 15 minutes late for the 10 o'clock showing, but I was 45 minutes late for the 11. Anyway, we are starting earlier today because I have a wonderful seminar with the Judy Post team over in Newport Richey. We're going to be going to Seafire Grill today, learning all about the crazy products that Lincoln Lending Group provides to you guys. And that's going to be a lot of fun with her entire team. And we're working on a new condo development right there in Newport Richey. Going to be the nicest luxury condo development. Ksenia, you're going to come visit it and you're going to sell those when we get them done. You're gonna love it. Now it's still doing foundations and pilings and things, so not anything really for us to look at yet. We're not even allowed on the property unless we have a hard hat. But it's going to be a lot of fun. So it'll be a great project we're going to talk about. And I know you've got some good statistics for us. We're going to talk some interest rates today as well. There's a lot of chatter about the Fed. Did you hear about what happened with the Fed?
No.
Oh,
what happened?
What a good show. So that Fed chairman, right? This guy that everybody loves to hate right now, clearly is not friends with Donald Trump. He had made a comment. Everybody's been pressuring him to lower the rates. And he finally, by the way, his name is Jerome Powell. We're only going to hear that name until next March. But he has been fighting the administration on lowering the rates. And finally, we think enough pressure happened, especially with the jobless claims reports and whatnot, that he literally came out. Let's see, what day did he say this on? Today is Tuesday. If you're listening on Sunday, just put it in perspective. It was last Friday, I believe, is when he came out and basically said that he is going to lower the rates. And remember, Ryan?
Yes.
We basically were like betting his car on purpose that we think rates are going down in September. So September 2nd is the potential Fed meeting. And I do think that the rates are going to go down on September 2nd, which is really exciting.
That
because
is very exciting.
It's a lot earlier than we thought. So if they go down now, that means they could continue to go down. So it puts us on the right trajectory for when he gets booted out of office at the end of March, unless he quits sooner. I don't think he's going to. And then we're going to have somebody brand new come in and replace him. And I'm quite sure that that person is going to follow Trump's monetary policy, where he believes it's important to get these rates lower. I'm talking a lot. I'm already playing Rush Limbaugh and you're in the room. But I did read an interesting article this morning, since we're just chatting about rates for a second before we get into our stats. And let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Trump, for the first time in history, a president fired someone who's sitting on the board for the Fed. I can't remember how many guys are on there. I want to say there's 6 on there, and I'm trying to find the dang article so I can tell you guys. But long story short, this board votes, right, on what should happen in the monetary policy. Should they raise rates, lower rates? Obviously, Powell has the ultimate say, right, as the chairman of the Fed. But it's rare that the acting Fed chair would go against the board. If the board votes, 6-0 to drop rates, he's going to drop rates for the most part. If not, he's not going to look so good, right? But this recently, there's been dissension in the board. So I think it was 2-4 last time to hold rates. Right. So you had 30% of them basically said, no, or 25%, whatever it is, said that they need, to lower them. And one of the ones that was trying to keep rates the same, keep them higher, basically got caught doing mortgage fraud.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And it's pretty simple. And I might as well talk about this mortgage fraud real quick, because your clients need to know. Like yesterday, I got asked by a client about buying a property that she wants to rent out, which means she's buying an investment property, right? And trying to buy it as a primary residence. And why? Why do you think somebody would want to do that, Ksenia? What would be the benefit? There's 2 benefits if you're buying something.
I'm sure she could get a better rate. And
there you go.
Better mortgage.
Lower down payment. It's down payment and rate. Those are the 2 driving factors, because your investment is going to have a higher interest rate than your primary residence, right? You give a better deal to somebody if they're living in the house. So she could put down 3%, 5%, 0%. If she says she's living there, she has to put down 20%. If she's not, really 15, but nobody ever does that because of the rates. So with that same thought, this lady got caught for mortgage fraud, and what she did was, I don't remember the states are right, but she bought a property, I want to say in Georgia, and one in like New York or North Carolina or New Jersey or something like that, and she marked them both as primary residents, right? And guys, if you think that's not public, it's public. You can get that information, right? And she did this within 30 days of each other. And mind you, she sits on the board to our Federal Reserve that basically dictates the rates that you and I get and all of our clients get. So, I know Trump wanted her out, right? And it's unorthodox to kick somebody off the board, especially midterm. But, when you're looking and they're kind of meeting mortgage fraud and they're in charge of our mortgage rates.
I would think that's a pretty good reason to get somebody out.
I think he's going to win that battle. Pretty sure Trumpy's going to get that one. So she's going to be out. And hopefully this is a change in our monetary policy for the country. I think it's going to be an amazing thing. So everything you and I have been telling people, what's our favorite phrase that we like to say?
Marry the house and date the rate.
That's right. So, I'd say you guys, if we're talking about the house market, you probably have maybe a few months left to marry that house, because that rate you're going to date, what's going to happen is you're going to end up marrying both the house and the rates pretty soon enough. So we're going to highly encourage you today, after we go through this process, you got to buy. You got to buy now. I'm telling you for a fact, the window is closing. It doesn't take me or Ksenia to tell you. Google it. I just Googled 30-year fixed mortgage rate news, and you can see 100 articles about why they go down, what's going on. Are we going to be in the 3s? How low did they drop? And that's the billion-dollar question. What do you think rates are going to drop to?
I have a hard time believing that they'll drop to 3s. I'm hopeful they'll be, in the 4s at some point, but, even you're getting 5s.
Yeah.
5.75. I think you were talking last week.
5.75 has no points. 5.5 would have like 1 point, right? We're there. So what are people, I agree with you. I don't really think we're going to see the threes. I think you'll be able to buy down to the threes. So that's why the advice right now when somebody's buying a home is don't focus on your rate. Focus on your cost. If you've got a broker telling you, yeah, I'll give you, 5.25, but it'll cost you 3 points. That's 3% of what you borrow, right? Maybe it's your $400,000 loan amount. That's $12,000. And then next year the rates drop a point and you go to refi. What happens to that cost?
Well, I mean, I know you're not a huge fan of the buy downs, right?
Right. Not now. Like,
you're forking over all that money, to begin with. And
right. Because you're going to pay $12,000 to buy down your rate for a half a point. And then next year, if these rates drop, let's say from the 5s to the 4s, you're going to refi. Mm-hmm. And that $12,000 is gone. Gone. You're never getting it back. So my advice, let's take a higher rate today. Let's lower your costs. Let's have no points, no junk fees, no lender fees, anything like that. And then when the rates drop, that's when I want you to refinance and then pay the points. Think about this. You could apply those 3 points. That's a lot, by the way. You could apply those 3 points when the rates are 4.5 and get into the 3s. So do you and I think rates will actually be 3 with no cost? Probably not. All right. But can you get into them? I think you will. I think you and I are going to see that next year. And I just say to everybody, buckle up. All right. The news is happening. The day is coming. Ksenia and I have talked about this for 3 longer than we wanted to, right? 3 years, 2.5 years. It's been a long time. But get ready, buckle up. When we get back from the business happy hour, we're going to talk statistics with Ksenia from O'Hara and Associates. And then we are going to go through the home buying process as a consumer. I don't care if you bought 1,000 homes or it's your first home. We're going to tell you from a real estate agent how it works. What should you do and in what order? And we're going to tell you from a mortgage company, how does it work? What do you do in what order? When we get back to the business happy hour in just a minute, we lost Instagram, so we'll be back in a minute and we'll fix that. We'll see you guys here in just a minute on the business happy hour. Did that kick you off?
Okay. I think you're spinning. I don't know if I'm still on or not.
I don't know how that works because I initiated it. So, James, give me 1 second. I got to find a charger. I totally Rush Limballed that segment. Sorry. I was like totally in the zone.
Oh, it's all good.
To do it, and I friggin' did it. But it was nice to kind of have the supporting voice. All right, let's see. All right. Let's get this thing back up and running. I'll just turn that back on when it goes. I don't know what that's going to do to my Facebook posts. I might have to redo it. I think we're ready. You can fire, and I'll get Instagram up while we're running.
All the best mortgage or real estate advice from Tampa Bay's top experts. It's the Business Happy Hour with Frank the Bank Cotto and Ksenia Kishina.
Hey, Tampa Bay, welcome back to the Business Happy Hour, your number one show for all things business and entrepreneurial. I hope you guys are having a great day. We've got a great show for you. Ksenia from O'Hara and Associates is going to go into real estate statistics in just a quick minute. And then after that, we are going to take you guys through the home buying process. It doesn't matter if it's your first home, your millionth home. We are going to tell you advice from 2 of the top real estate agents and mortgage peoples, that's us, in the entire country. What you should and shouldn't be doing, give you some advice, and walk you through the entire process. Stay tuned. I'm going to get us back up on Instagram while Ksenia goes into the real estate stats. And watch your phone because I'll re-invite you as soon as I do this. But I'm going to let you do these stats. By the way, Ksenia, maybe people want to talk to a real estate agent. They need to know how to get in touch with you before you give statistics.
Please give me a call at 813-755-REAL.
All right. Let's do your stats.
Okay, so I told you last week that we should have our July numbers, and we do.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, so for closed sales, actually in Hillsborough County, we were down a bit by 7.6%. So this is just closed sales volume. But Pinellas County was up by 4.4%.
Okay.
And Pasco, barely a change, less than 1% down.
Why do you think Hillsborough was down so much? That kind of blows my mind.
You know what? I was thinking about this. Like, I did have 2 listings in June that both wanted at least a 60-day close.
Okay.
So I don't know. I wonder if some sellers now are thinking, hey, things are taking a little bit longer to sell. Let me prepare ahead of time if it takes me a little bit longer to get that contract. To answer your question, though, I don't know. In my particular case, that's why, I'm coughing it up to is that maybe, it's not necessarily because things were, there's no transactions. Maybe they're just taking a little bit longer. Like I have another one now that wanted a 3-month close.
So you're actually thinking it has to do with people buying in the summer and wanting a longer closing? That's what
Well,
you're thinking?
I mean, this was my sellers. Like both of them just were not ready to do a closing in 30 days, which typically you get a contract, on a conventional loan. We usually say, hey, expect, 30-day close.
Right.
FHA, say 45 days. But this is, both my sellers that actually wanted the longer closing, for moving, figuring out their next place.
So it's actually the sellers who are holding things up just a little bit.
Could be.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. What else? So this is exciting. What else do we have?
Well, in Hillsborough, actually, our year-over-year median sale price is at a 0% change. So if it was $430,000 a year ago, we're still at $430,000 in Hillsborough for the median sale price. Average sale price went down just a tad, also less than a percentage point, and the average is $543,000.
Wait. Nothing really changed?
In Hillsborough County, not too much. I mean, the numbers do jump around, Pinellas and Pasco. Pinellas has seen the biggest difference. And again, I attribute that, I think, just to the hurricane damage we had last year and just some of the homes, that were affected by that. Oh.
Yep. Oh, got you on Instagram. I was pointing to Sam. I was like, you're on Instagram now. Check it out. Okay. So far, this is very good news. Now, did it let you on? What's going on?
I don't know.
I
don't see you live on there.
I'm going to get you back on here on Instagram. So all right. So far okay, there you go. Your invite is back. So far we are seeing this is good. And the reason this is good is because if you go and watch the clickbait, we hate clickbait, but if you go watch clickbait, it's going to tell you that Florida is sinking into the ocean. Real estate prices are plummeting. Now, it is a buyer's market, but what Ksenia and I are trying to tell you guys is, it's not letting you join for some reason. What Ksenia and I are trying to tell you guys, there you go, is that this buyer's market is fading quickly. All right. When they tell you that rates are going down, more buyers get in the market, so you have more competition. So I'm going to let Ksenia keep going on these stats.
Okay, so we're still in Hillsborough County. Median time to contract is at 34 days. Month supply is up by 23.5% since last year, and that puts us at 4.2 months of inventory. And the absorption rate is at 28%, which we don't always discuss.
What does that mean?
It's a similar metric to when we talk about month supply.
Okay.
So kind of just measures how quickly, homes are selling.
Oh, so is that number, like, I don't know what my baseline is on that. Is that?
The baseline, so 20% or higher would be a seller's market.
Oh, and we're at 23?
About 15 to 20% balanced market, 15% or less is a buyer's market.
So wait, didn't you say we're at 23?
So 28% in Hillsborough County, yeah.
So Sen, does that mean that the needle is shifting already? I mean, did I hear that right?
I think right now I feel like it's still balanced. Like if you're
balanced.
just looking at it, the prior months, but I think in general we are in a relatively balanced market.
Okay, well, you know me, I'm Optimus Prime over here. So if you give me just a nugget, I'm going to push it over into the positive side.
Well, the other thing I want to say, we're already at the end of August here.
Right.
So these are from July.
Okay.
And I do think that we start feeling things, happening. Like I think there's an increase in showing activity. We also are, still seeing, increase in inventory.
Right.
Those things happen quickly. And then we get the stats. Like you're already feeling like, well, currently, today, I don't know.
Right.
That these are, aligning with what's actually going on.
Well, so let me ask you just, we'll keep doing stats, obviously, but let me just ask you just in general, as a real estate, what's your temperature? What are you feeling? Because I know Ray and I chat every once in a while, and I'm not going to spoil it, but I'll let him say it next week. But a couple weeks ago, he sent me a video of a whole bunch of files on his desk.
Oh, yeah.
And those files were getting dust, right? I could see the layer. And then last couple of days we're talking, and it was almost like a buckle up, buddy.
Yes.
Right?
No, so it happens quickly. I feel like ever since we had Ryan on the show, and there's chit chatter about, interest rates going down.
Yeah.
Like that has an immediate effect.
It does.
On the public, they'll see the headlines and then, they start coming out of the woodwork. So,
Yeah. I like, okay, Ksenia just said something. She said the word immediate effect. Don't let that just flow by you. What that means is that it actually happens immediately. When the news says that the rates go down, when the TV says it, people jump. People get off the fence. It doesn't take them a week to climb off the fence. So we're trying to get you guys off the fence before everybody else. Like when you go to Disney and you see that there's going to be a really long line for Space Mountain and the gates open. What do people do? They rush to Space Mountain, right? Because they want to be the first guy. What is wrong with you guys? Rush to your pre-approval. Rush to get these offers in because the people are behind you. Just picture the gates of Disney, if you've never done it, and the lines that will form within the first 15 minutes of the park opening. Okay, I'll shut up now. Back to statistics.
Okay, so by the time you get the stats, I feel it could just be, old news.
Right.
So yes.
Now, hold on. James just yelled at us. I totally burned the end of your segment. When we get back in the business happy hour, we're going to finish our stats, and then we're going through the home buying process. Don't forget, next week is going to be the founder of Mahara and Associates, Ray Mahara himself, and we're going to be talking about rates and what do you got to do to buy a home. Stay tuned on the business happy hour with Ksenia and Frank. We'll be right back. All right, thank you. Ooh, we got Marge from Ireland. Miss Bolton is in Ireland watching us right now. Thank you for checking out the business happy hour. I wonder what time it is in Ireland right now. I don't know. Anybody have any idea? What are they like?
8 hours ahead of us?
6, 8. I don't want to say. I know Italy it's 6 hours ahead of us, I think.
I know Russia's
What's
8
Russia?
hours ahead.
Okay, and that's farther.
And it's first,
So,
6, 7. I think
so
that's
Ireland's
a good guess.
a little closer, right? So I'm going to say 4 is my
4.
guess. I think 4
I
hours
mean,
ahead.
we're like 3 if you go to Vegas.
It's 4:13 according to James. 1, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. Oh, 5.
5. Okay.
Hey, we
All
split
right.
the difference. All right. It's okay. Fire it away, James.
Welcome to the Business Happy Hour radio show with your host, Frank the Bank Cotto, the owner of Lincoln Lending Group right here in Tampa Bay for 23 years. Joined by his incredible co-host, Ksenia Akishina, realtor with Mahara and Associates, Tampa's top real estate company. Together, they have helped finance and close nearly $1 billion of real estate every year. If you're looking for local mortgage or real estate advice, the Business Happy Hour team has been right here on News Radio WFLA for over a decade. Listen right here or find us on the Business Happy Hour YouTube channel or follow us on Instagram at Frank the Bank Cotto. Now sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious mortgage, real estate, and business talk with 2 of Tampa's top experts. Here's Frank the Bank and Ksenia.
Hey, Frank the Bank and Ksenia. We're on the radio. That's what we do. We're on the Business Happy Hour. Next week, we got Ray Mahara, the founder of Mahara and Associates. That's going to be super exciting. Over billions and billions of dollars served through Mahara and Associates, and they have over 100 people on their team. That's going to be super exciting. I cut off Ksenia in the last segment when she was doing her stats, which are good news. We've been waiting for these July over July numbers, so I'm going to shut up and let Ksenia do the stats with us. We're going to chat about that, and then we're taking you through a home buyer process for the last segment and a half, so stay tuned for that. Ksenia Akishina, Mahara and Associates, take it away.
So yeah, about the market, we were talking about the absorption rate. And I said that if it's 20% or higher, that's a seller's market. Like all of the numbers since we started getting the absorption rates calculated and included in our stats, I mean, they've been higher than 20%. Just like when we talk about month supply of inventory, say 5 to 6 months supply is about balanced.
Okay.
We really haven't been there.
Oh.
So
we're still far from that.
Yeah, that's why I think when all the buyers do come out because they're hearing interest rates are going down, then technically there's really not enough inventory to, keep supporting that balance. It'll, get swayed back into the seller's direction because it's technically inventory-wise still, should be more of a seller's market. Just the buyers have been, not as active.
Right. But
when they do get active...
And you just told me a minute ago,
get a little hectic.
It can happen overnight, and it
can happen overnight.
Did. I mean, from that was Friday at I think it was like on lunchtime when he made that comment, and we've only had one business day since then, and I'll tell you, volume wise, from applications and everything, it's up tremendously. So this stuff about being ultra local and immediate, it's real.
Yeah.
So you got to beat them. What else you got?
Even like a listing that I had, say first couple of weeks, they're like, oh, it's been quiet, not too many showings. And then all of a sudden, we really picked up in showing activity for a listing that's already been there.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Sam. I was
No, that's okay.
I was reading a stat of my own right there.
All right. So in Pinellas County, closed sales were up by 4.4%. But the median sale price went down a little bit by 8.4%, $435,000.
Including condos or not?
Not including condos.
Interesting.
Yes. So I always keep those separate. I just pull the single family home stats. So
right. So more sales, but slightly cheaper in Pinellas.
Slightly cheaper. And again,
okay.
I think because of
hurricanes.
Just yes.
Yeah. Pinellas, by the way,
Pinellas went up so much. Like during our COVID market, I
right.
think that they probably saw the biggest increase.
Yes. Agreed.
In our local area.
So maybe they were just checking back.
Yeah.
Right?
There you go.
Okay. Positive.
Pasco County median sale price $387,000, which is roughly the same as it was a year ago. The average sale price $427,000. Both Pinellas and Pasco are a little bit higher on median days to contract, which that just means you list your home. This is the average time that you're expecting to be on the market before you get a contract.
Yeah. Okay. So this is good. I'm looking at the positive of all of this. I think it's absolutely wonderful stuff. What now? You're feeling that these numbers are affecting. The people don't know until we tell them, but are they affecting them coming out, or is it just the rates that they're hearing affecting them coming out?
I think it's the rates. I really do. I think we in the industry we've been talking about when are they coming down. I think we were hoping last year there'll be some movement because it's been a little stale the last couple of years. Since the big boom that we had.
Yep. I agree. Stale is not a good word. Not a good word.
I don't think anything's going to be stale. So yeah, as soon as all the activity starts happening, it's going to get exciting.
Get exciting, I think, is going to be an understatement because if anybody actually lived through the COVID market, then that was exciting, but almost in a bad way.
Yeah,
because you didn't have enough inventory. You had too many buyers, and what I don't know if you like this or not, but I hate seeing that highest and best crap. That crap where there's lines. Because it makes the consumer feel like they're not negotiating and they're getting ripped off, right?
It's not fun. Like I showed one over the weekend, and it was a higher price home, like $800,000, and 2 days on the market. But I could just tell, by the presentation, and of course she already had a couple offers on the table, accepting multiples, and by the time we're seeing it, already knowing that there's multiple offers on it. It makes the buyer, okay, I don't really want to participate in that. We know how it goes. You really gotta bring up the best terms, probably,
right.
Make some sacrifices, go up on price.
Well, it makes people, okay, here's my thing about it. And I know legally you as agents can't tell people, but if I'm a buyer and I'm working with you and I go make an offer on a house and the listing agent comes back and tells you, sorry, we got multiple offers. You need to bring your best foot forward, meaning make a higher offer. It's like you as a buyer, you're in the dark. You don't really, now obviously.
Well, on the legality perspective, it's actually, the seller, we represent, if you're on the listing,
right.
we represent the seller.
Right.
If the seller is okay sharing that information, say, hey, sure, you can tell them what this offer is. And if they want to go higher, legally we do, what the seller would like to do.
Yeah.
If they're okay with us disclosing it, they want to disclose to see if somebody will, go higher.
Yeah. I just, as a buyer, it's like you don't see it. So it's kind of like, going to the store and the guy's like, it's $9.99. And he's like, well, a couple guys want this, so it's going to be $12.99. And you're like,
and as a buyer, you're also like, oh, they, telling the truth or whatnot.
Right. That's what I mean.
The other thing we saw, especially in COVID, like people put in escalation clauses.
Right.
So even if you don't see it, put an escalation clause that I'll pay $5,000 more, than the highest offer. And
explain that real quick to people. What the heck is an escalation clause? Because I think that's a really neat feature that you real estate agents can use during this upcoming market. How does that work?
Yeah, you put it into your offer that you're willing to pay, a certain amount. You spell out what that number is over the other highest offer.
Right.
And typically in that situation, you do request to see the highest offer if, you're trying to get for the escalation. So, you block out certain things, but then, share that page of the offer where it's, shows the selling price.
Okay. So, but now can you do anything you want on escalation? Could I say,
sure.
I'll go up $100,000?
Sure, you could if you want to.
So then I have to just trust the listing agent to keep telling you as my buyer's agent that I'm not the next guy and that I'm pushing the escalation higher. And that's where it gets so scary. But
when you get a few of those, because even then, I mean, a lot of the offers were including that.
Right, exactly.
So ultimately, I mean, it comes down to when you're in that situation, you're on the list side. I mean, it was a lot of work, despite it being, hey, you list the house and you get all these offers. You have spreadsheet, all the terms. My biggest thing was lenders.
What do you mean?
That was my first homework is, you know what, I'm going to call each and every lender from the pre-approval letter for one, see if they answer the phone and really feel them out. So, I mean, it was a lot writing on the lenders to try to sell that buyer's offer.
Yeah. So I like that you said that you test out the bank or broker by making a call to see if they answer.
I still always do that. When we get an offer, that's how I vet the offers. Even if it's just the one, I want to talk to the lender before we go into contract, feel out their confidence in the buyer, their qualifications, and I still do that. That's a good practice.
And if they don't answer, guess whose offer doesn't get accepted?
That's usually that first little, yes. If they don't answer the phone, I'm like, okay, a little ding there.
Something's not going to be great about this guy. Yeah. Well, because if they don't answer the phone when you're making an offer, they going to answer the phone when you're going through the tough parts of the contract, right? So what else? Any other good stuff on stats? Because, by the way, I'm going to say something before she goes on the stats. All this scary stuff we're talking about, highest and best, and can you trust the broker? Of course, you can trust Ksenia and Ray, but you don't know them. So I'm going to tell you how to avoid all this. I'm going to tell you how to avoid who do you trust? What do you do? Are they telling me the truth? I don't want to be in a highest and best situation. You know how you do it? You freaking buy now. You buy now before any of this crap starts, which, by the way, it already is starting. And then you don't have to worry about any of these
I think that's a definite. If anybody's listening and they're still sitting on the sidelines, don't wait for my stats for August to come out.
Oh, God.
Yes, you need to get out there. And we were going to talk about the home buying process. So I think we should just...
You want to go?
I think we should go because it runs by so fast. And I do think that's important.
I want to start with you as a real estate agent.
Okay.
And there's a reason because most consumers... How much time we got? We got 2 minutes. Most consumers, whether it's right or wrong, I feel like they go to the real estate agent first. I feel like they shop for the house, they get on Zillow, they talk to a real estate agent, they start picking out their dream home, and then they go to us as the lender and they try to figure out how they can afford it. Are they qualified? Would you agree?
I do agree, but I think, if they go to the good real estate agent, they're going to say, hey, have you already talked to a lender?
So that's first and foremost.
That is first and foremost. You got to know what you can afford. You got to make sure you do qualify.
Right.
Nobody wants to, waste time. And the buyer doesn't want to waste their time if they can't buy a home. That's heartbreaking.
Right.
So yes, that is the first advice we give. Okay, I know you window shopped, on Zillow. You really like this home, the type of home. It costs this much, but you need to talk to Frank and make sure that you can actually buy a home that, costs this.
Right.
And that is a very important first step.
So we'll throw in this other step. When you're talking to your real estate agent or to your mortgage person, a lot of times it's not purchase price. That's the important question. You have to do it backwards. What payment do you want? Yes. All right. Don't get me wrong. If you send me a bunch of listings right now, I'm going to pick out a bunch of stuff I love, and I'm not going to love them so much when I run the payment on certain ones. Right.
Well, and buyers too. I think they get a little bit, shell shocked sometimes. We know that costs have gone up. So yes, you got to consider taxes and insurance.
Yeah.
And
HOA,
ultimately it's
CDD,
the payment.
Right. So what are we got 30 seconds? Maybe we'll pick this up when we get back. When we get back, we'll talk about. We're going to stay in line. Okay, we're going to talk to Ksenia about what they should be doing. I'm going to talk about what are her first conversations with the buyer, and then we'll talk about staying in line with the mortgage side and what things can be part of the mortgage payment, because it's not just the mortgage. Like you said, tax, insurance, CDD, HOA, lots of stuff to consider. When we get back to the business happy hour, Ksenia is going to get back to the process for a home buyer. But stay tuned in just a minute. I'm going to run to the restroom real quick. You had to hear that, Instagram. Sorry. Be right back. Dude, this freaking show is flying. You see how fast it goes?
It always goes fast, yes. So, James, how's it going with you? How's your situation looking for buying a home, selling yours? Well, maybe we'll see how, maybe next year things get really crazy and, equity starts hiking up again. Is it raining out there yet? I know the clouds were getting really gray when I pulled in. That's why it's nice we don't have the windows. 'Cause now I'm just guessing I didn't bring my umbrella up with me, but clouds were looking pretty mean.
Totally fine doing that 90% of the time. But get me the math, please. Okay, rocking and rolling, flying right through this show. Woo. All right, James, ready when you are, my friend.
Let's get back to the Business Happy Hour radio show with your host, Frank the Bank Kodo, owner of Lincoln Lending Group, and his co-host, Ksenia Akishina, realtor with Mahara and Associates.
All right, Tampa Bay. We are just now getting into the home buying process. We're having way too much fun. The stats are good. Basically, Ksenia and I figured out that you better be buying now, because if you don't, you're going to be in that Space Mountain line like you got into Disney at 11 a.m. instead of getting in at 8 a.m. when the doors open. And if you don't want to be in that line, sweating your butt off, highest and best offers, competing with things that you don't even know exist, the only way to mitigate that is to buy now. Ksenia and I started the conversation about what does a home buyer do by telling you you really need to get your pre-approval first, and you should be telling your banker or broker what payment you want. All right. Ksenia, I'll talk in a minute about the things that are included in payments, but from a real estate agent perspective, let's kind of stay on the line here of, so they talk to you.
And I tell them to go talk to you. And you know what? My question for you is, because, it used to be, just get, a pre-qual. People didn't, pay attention, difference between pre-qualification or pre-approval.
Right.
What is the difference?
Yeah, that's really funny you ask that, because it's mostly real estate agents that ask that question. And back in the day, I'd just be like, it's the same thing, right? But people do have a difference in them. They call like a pre-qual, basically like you can go on Rocket Mortgage right now. You can type in, you make $1 million a year and you got 800 credit, and it's going to send you a freaking letter in 10 seconds that says you're qualified for $1 million purchase. We in the industry know that it's not worth the paper it's written on, right? But you have to be in the industry to know that. A pre-approval generally means that we have reviewed income and asset documents, and we've actually maybe even ran an approval, maybe ran it through one of the underwriting systems, and we know because we've seen the documents, right? So on our letters, we do pre-approval letters. We do make a note, though, that says, even though we've reviewed and said it's good, everything still has to be reviewed by the underwriter, right? So it's kind of a CYA document, right? But I think from a realtor standpoint, you guys want to see the pre-approval letter.
Well, I think, the general public now, or at least agents, are educated enough where if I only get a pre-qualification, I do reach out to that lender and ask them to give me a pre-approval, or at least a more thorough explanation of exactly, what they checked, what documents they did collect.
Yep. So. Credit, income, and assets. That is it. If they have to have reviewed credit, they have to look at some income documents. The only time we won't look at income documents, and I probably shouldn't even say this, but is if they are a salaried employee with at least 2 years on the job and they don't have any rental properties, no bonuses, no commission. So if you're if you're a teacher, somebody that works in the, government or something like that, and you're just on a $75,000 salary, you are honestly the easiest person in the world to qualify. You know what's funny? You know what the hardest to qualify? People who have assets, doctors, attorneys, people with rental properties, commissions, bonuses, people with corporations. That I can pre-approve a salaried teacher on my phone in less than 10 minutes and give you a real letter. If it's somebody with commission, all other stuff, I got to get all kinds
so you're saying that for real estate agents, it's actually a lot harder for us to buy a home, and that is the truth.
It is. Y'all are a pain in the ass. I mean, it's true. But so am I. You ever done, if you do a loan for me, watch out. But it's, so anyway, the more you have, the more complicated you are, the harder your pre-approval letter is. So from a real estate perspective and consumer perspective, just understand that not every pre-approval is the same. And you're like, hey, how'd you get my buddy, the teacher, pre-approved in an hour? And you're telling me I need tax returns. Well, because you got 6 rental properties and you take depreciation, you do this. So you're savvy. So we have to approve you in a savvy manner, right? So what else do they do? So
Well, after they talk to you,
yeah.
they get their pre-approval letter.
Now
Obviously, the next step is to start shopping for a home and not just, looking on Zillow.
Right.
It's nice to go see the home.
Yeah.
As many people know, there's beautiful pictures out there now, virtual staging, all that stuff. And sometimes the pictures are so good, you walk into a house and it's, oh, is this the same house?
Yeah. So that virtual staging, that's tricky. I've gotten caught in that before when I'm looking at things. I'm like, dude, this place looks awesome. And you go in there and it's totally vacant.
Yeah.
And you didn't pay attention. Virtual staging means they literally put the pictures have furniture, TVs.
Yeah,
on
and
the
I mean,
wall.
and that is helpful, to display it online.
Right.
But what you're not allowed to do is say change wall colors or, if the floors are one type and then you're like virtually putting in a different floor, like that is not allowed. But obviously, as you know, not everybody follows the rules.
Right.
So unless you get caught, which sometimes they do,
Right.
if you get a complaint, that is against MLS rules to make changes like that. Adding furniture, that's okay. That's become an acceptable practice.
Yeah.
But anyway, you go look at houses.
All right. And how do they do that? They're going to call you. So I'm going to give you the pre-approval letter or whoever their agent is. I'm going to give it to them. And now they're going to talk to you. Are you going to send them like listings or what do you do?
We do. So, I mean, yeah, when we have the, initial conversation, obviously for me, number one, it's location.
Right.
You got to know where you want to be. Some people are, set in a certain neighborhood. Some people have a broader range. Well, I work from home. So for me, I'm flexible. But, you narrow down your location and you set up a search. And I think it's important to do those auto alerts.
Right.
And I would do those as soon as possible.
Right.
So if a change, happens, if there's a new listing, you want to know about it right away.
Right. So she's talking about like these email alerts, it'll tell you maybe you found a house on 123 Main Street and you really liked it, but it was a little out of your price range. But if Ksenia puts you on an alert and that thing drops in price, it's automatically going to send them an email, right?
Yes.
And it's going to say, hey, go look at Main Street. It's gone down. Of course, Ksenia's going to see it before that, and she's going to call you and put you out there.
And my other advice is that when you do see one that you like, go see it. Like,
Yes.
don't wait. Oh, you know what I can do, next Friday. Don't do that.
Yep.
Because even in a market like we have now, it happens. It still happens.
So I'm going to tell you.
Other people like it too. And then by the time you go see it, oh, shoot, it's pending. We actually can't go see it anymore.
So if anybody's bought multiple houses, you have experienced the one that got away. All right. And there is a house for me and my family. My God, it is the one that got away. It is a neighborhood, probably the nicest neighborhood I would ever move into, on a ski lake with the right architecture, fully remodeled. But what happened was it was the week that like the world shut down. Right. And my wife's like, you got to see this. This is a deal. I'm like, who knows what's going to happen with this COVID thing? We might all die. Right. And then I didn't go. And literally exactly what you said. The week later, it was under contract. And if I had gone, Sen, I'd be in that house right now.
And you still think about it. Yeah, those
Still.
are heartbreaks. So
This
you know
was
what?
5 years ago.
Yeah. If you're serious about buying a house, take the right steps and don't wait around.
And forward to that story, now my wife is showing me houses that are twice the price.
Oh, yeah.
Not even in that neighborhood. So again, we tell you this not because we want to make a commission, because we want to help you. You're going to buy either way. Listen to our advice. All right, so we got 40 seconds left. I think next week we're going to do the rest of this with Ray.
Oh, yeah.
With the home buying
That'd be
process.
fun.
What we'll do next week is maybe do some math.
Okay.
Right? So at this point, they're looking for houses. That's where we're ending, is you're looking for houses with Ksenia. She gave you great advice. Go see it, which means they call you, right?
Yes.
What number do they call you on?
They're going to call me at 813-755-REAL.
All right, 813-755-REAL. That's Ksenia. Contact frankthebank.com. And yes, Rhino, your dreams are coming true. Rates are coming down. Prices are going up. And lending to realtors is a pain in the ass. I just commented on the thing. We'll see you guys next week on the Business Happy Hour with Ray Mahara. It's going to be an awesome show. Sen, thanks for coming.
Thank you. This went quick.
It sure did.
Look forward to next week.
See you guys next week. All right, Instagram, we're going to get out of here. It's been great hanging out with you guys. We appreciate all you guys joining and listening. As always, like and share, please. We have a busy day today. We'll see you on social media later. The Home Buying Process Simplified with Ksenia and Frank the Bank. This show, we go over statistics on the market and why it is shifting literally overnight. How do you stay out of the highest and best offers? And what can you do to get the best pre-approval? Hashtag Lincoln Lending Group, hashtag Frank the Bank, hashtag Mahara and Associates, hashtag buyers, hashtag market.
Okay.
Boom. Fix our cover photo. I meant to tell you your phone was freaking blurry, but I was like, nah.
It was what?
Your phone was blurry.
Oh, you know what? It kind